This video is sponsored by STREAMYARD. If you're an aspiring content creator but don't know where to start, this all-in-one platform is essential for all of your recording, editing, and publishing needs. And by using our code or following the link in the description, STREAMYARD is giving our viewers $10 off their first month subscription. So what are you waiting for, horror fans? Start creating, streaming, and posting today.
Hey guys, what's going on? Yes, Dylan here, and I just got back from seeing A Quiet Place Day 1. This was an interesting flick for me. No, I didn't cover the trailer. I left that one up to Luke, so I feel like the only time that you may have heard me discuss this really was when we just recently covered both the first and second film on our live with our buddy Jake over at Killjoy Jake. And yeah, you can hear I love the first film. I thought the first film is very emotionally resonant. I thought that it was a very quite a memorable theatrical experience. It's one of those ones that I won't soon forget. But the second one, if I am being honest, left me wanting a little bit more. I felt like we really rushed through a lot of things. I felt like we were kind of repeating some of these same beats. And it almost felt like it was a little bit too big for what the concept was. And if I'm being completely honest, that's really where I sat with A Quiet Place Day 1. I thought, man, I am so concerned with how this is going to turn out. Is this going to be too big? Is this going to be the kind of big action movie as opposed to the tension-filled horror film that the first film really was? There were a lot of questions, a lot of things up in the air. But now that I've seen the film, and I can reflect on it a little bit, I am really happy to report that this is not A Quiet Place 2. This is very, very much in line with the first Quiet Place. And there's a select few reasons why I enjoy that, but I'm also a little bit afraid that some of the general audience members who may have really loved A Quiet Place 2 are going to be a bit turned off by this movie. But before I dive into that, I want to start talking about some of these positives. Now, this cast is really strong. Obviously, we have a returning character with Jaimon Hansu, who is back. He is a very limited role, but he is back, and I do love seeing him on screen. I really loved him. He was a really big standout point for me in Quiet Place 2. Alex Wolff, who has worked with this director before, which I'll save that for a minute, but yeah, he was great in this. He's one of those actors that I think is just improving with every role that he takes. Ever since Hereditary, this guy has really started to just climb this ladder and really show what he's got, and his acting range is just consistently growing. But obviously, our two main leads here, the people that we are absolutely just 100% in the running with, that's going to be Joseph Quinn and the wonderful Lupita Nyong'o, who I thought that what they did with her character in this film, that when they open this movie and they show you exactly what's going on with her, which I will not spoil, that's when I knew that we were taking this material a bit more seriously. That's when I knew that this wasn't going to be just a paint-by-numbers alien invasion action film that I was afraid that the series was heading into. But not only that, they were able to carry that also with Joseph Quinn's character, who, you know, you'd kind of expect maybe they have a certain dynamic, maybe like almost this kind of relationship in a sense. You know, if this was in a lesser writer and director's hands, you'd almost have these two fall in love with each other. But it's not like that. This is two people who are doing everything they can to survive, dealing with the final days of maybe one's life, and, you know, just the uncertainty of what this new future has in store for them. And I thought that they played off of each other wonderfully. They are definitely two actors who I think are going to be household names as their careers continue. And just seeing them on screen together, their chemistry, their friendship, I mean, I have nothing bad to say about the cast in this film. I think that everybody is really bringing their A game there. And I want to discuss Michael Sarnowski, the director here. He did a film that I absolutely adored called Pig a couple years ago, also starring Alex Wolff. And when he got signed on to this, I was kind of surprised. It just didn't seem like, after seeing Pig, like this would be the kind of material that he would want to sign on for. This didn't seem like something that would be up his alley. But when you watch the film, you realize that, okay, this is a film with a lot of action and a lot of aliens. They show it a lot in the trailer. But there are so many more quiet moments. So, no pun intended. But there's so many more emotional moments. So many more, these are sequences of just people trying to survive, trying to come to terms and cope with the fact that this horrible, unexplainable, damn near impossible thing to get through has just happened, and it's happening in a giant city like New York. And yeah, it's absolutely insane. I really sat down and just got consumed by his direction, the way that he chooses to shoot these monsters, which, you know, I think in Quiet Place 2, it was kind of like the cat's out of the bag. We're just going to show the monsters. I love that for the majority of the film, the monsters are in the background. They are out of focus. They really lean into the tension and really bring back the fear of these creatures again, which I thought was extremely refreshing. Again, because I thought that we were past that now. I didn't think that we were ever going to really jump back and pay attention to what I think made that first film so scary. But even beyond that, I think they make a lot of really great decisions here story-wise. I think that there's a lot of some of that really smart, intuitive thinking that we got from the first film is back here again. They have characters that kind of have to adapt really quickly, and you see characters who aren't adapting, and they are paying the ultimate price for it. So to have that kind of happening so closely to our characters, you know, it is jarring, and it is very shocking at times, even though we kind of know what to expect already 2 films into this series. And there's a couple of sequences I really love. One involving thunder that I just thought was excellent. It kind of calls back to the waterfall scene from the first film. And I really think that it was really smart how they played with a lot of that. They really do, again, really make use of sound, which is what this franchise is known for. And I think that they do a really great job with it again. I think that they're able to keep that idea fresh, which it was feeling a little bit worn out by the time we got to the sequel, but here they're able to kind of reinvigorate it again. And I know that kind of seems like the main point that I'm touching on, but I genuinely was shocked with just how much I was able to get invested again into the Quiet Place world. So I really have to tip my hat to the folks here. Like, I think that, you know, Michael Sarnowski, you know, Lupita Nyong'o, everybody who was involved in this, they really brought their A game, and they treated this with a little bit more respect than I think the second one was treated with. Now, yes, I've gushed about this film a good bit in this review so far, but I do have to say that the approach that they're taking with this movie is something that I really enjoyed. And I think that people who are into deeper stories, who are into not just the action and monster elements of the Quiet Place lore and the world, I think that those folks are going to love this. But I do see this movie being a bit slow for people. I see this being, honestly, a bit boring, a bit more emotional than I think some of these folks are expecting. And again, I think that that second film has divided audiences when it comes to this franchise, because you have the people who are there for the action and are there for the monsters, and believe me, there's plenty of action in this, there's lots of them, but we do get a lot more emotional, a lot more deeper moments with our characters, a lot more of just people, again, sitting with this world and dealing with it than I think even I went in expecting. So I do feel like, even though I think this film will resonate with a lot of people, I could easily see people walking away and saying, no, this is not the film that I was expecting, especially from that trailer with just how much action they show. I will admit the trailer does show just about every single action scene in the movie. So, you know, there's nothing really huge as far as surprises go. There's a little bit towards the start of all of this. But yeah, I think that if you know the action scenes pretty well from seeing that trailer 100 times in theaters, you're going to kind of know what to expect. So to me, it did make those scenes a bit boring. They did get a little bit like, okay, yeah, we're just kind of getting through this. I want to kind of figure out what we're doing, figure out where we're going to this place, and yeah, really just keep spending more time with our characters. I kind of liked as our characters would interact with other characters in this world, and that's a huge positive. I mean, when you write good characters and you have a good story, even if it isn't the deepest story, you can get a lot more traction out of that, in my opinion. So yes, even though I think that this is going to be a bit more of a pulled back, reserved take on the Quiet Place formula than what some people are expecting, and I do think that this is going to be maybe the black sheep of the 3 films so far for a lot of people, I'm really curious to see what the conversation becomes, because again, I enjoyed this film a lot, and I have no problem sitting here and giving this film a recommend. I think that, again, everything that this team set out to do really landed for me and honestly made me more excited to go back to A Quiet Place. Now, with that said, I think maybe if we complete that trilogy, I think that's good. 4 films is fine. This is something that I don't think we're going to get a lot of mileage out, even with this one working. Again, this comes off as more of a surprise than anything. I just don't think that we can keep this, concept and this formula going for, 5, 6, 7 movies. I just don't see that happening. I think if you wrap up the trilogy with our main family there and have this as a really successful, honestly fantastic prequel, I think that you've got a great set of films there. Even with me not being the biggest fan of 2, I think that that's where we need to end this. But you guys let me know down below if you've seen A Quiet Place Day 1. Do you want to see this continue? Is this like one of your favorite franchises ever? How'd you feel about the film? Did you like the different take? I think Michael Skarnowski can do whatever he wants at this point. I loved Pig. I think he did a serviceable, great job with this. And yeah, I am definitely in his camp even further. So yeah, that's going to wrap it up for me here, guys. We got a lot of great stuff up on the channel and more stuff to come this weekend. So keep an eye on all of that. And yeah, I guess that's going to wrap it up for me. So until next time, I'm Dylan Newell. And remember, stay scared.
Do the hard shit, gonna do it live. Cause Splattercast kick it every day they live. Splattercast, gonna slash your ass. 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 Splattercast, gonna slash your ass.